What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. We're going live. We're trying a few different things today. We're going to be talking about how to be helpful. It seems like it's a really simple concept, but it's a little bit more complicated than you think. Stick around for the next 30 minutes. I'm going to be answering questions on Facebook Live and on YouTube. And Otto, Erin, and Mark will be monitoring your questions and comments. We'll tune in. Perfect crescendo there. Great job, team. Great job. Hey, look, check out my tie, you guys. Look, I have a whole tie here. All right, anyways, how to be helpful. I'm going to start this off with a little bit of a story. I'm going to put this behind me a little bit. Start it off with a story, and I think you guys might be able to relate to this. It's a personal story. So I'm helping my wife out with her computer, and she says, honey, I need you to fix the computer. It's crashing a lot, and I can't get it to be stable. All right? You guys? Thank you. And so she goes away. She has some errands to run. I jump on her computer, and I start working on it. Of course, I'm able to troubleshoot and figure out what the problem is. But while I'm there, I notice her desktop had so many files on the desktop and was driving me crazy. It was everywhere. There's no organization to it. So I thought, I'm going to be a good husband. I'm going to organize her files for her. So I created a folder for work. I created a folder for personal stuff like photos and things like that. And anything I thought was like an application that she already downloaded and installed, I moved into the trash. She comes home. I'm thinking, this is great. Honey, I fixed the computer. Everything's good. She's like, great, thank you very much. Gives me a kiss on the cheek. Goes to her computer. Turns around and is like, what did you do? I said I fixed the problem. But where are all my files, honey? Well, I put it in this folder, and she got really upset at me. And I was sitting there thinking, wait a minute. I did all this work. I went above and beyond expectations, and now you're coming at me and you're really angry at me. I don't get it. I don't understand why. And I was getting infuriated myself. Like, man, good deeds, they just go punished, right? So here's what I did. I went and talked to my therapist. I said, here's what I did, and here's what happened. Expecting her to say, well, poor you. She's an evil monster. Why would anybody treat such a wonderful person this way? Instead, she said something to me that I carry with me to this day. And here's the lesson. So you guys get out your pen, write this down. Write it down right now, okay? It's important that what you do is perceived as being helpful. Let me say it again because I stumbled through that. It's important that what you do is perceived as being helpful. So she said that when you went and moved her folders around, you did something that she didn't want you to do. And by doing so, you actually aggravated her more. And it really made me think. All right, so on this topic of how to be helpful, there's many applications of what you can do with the concept I'm going to share with you. You can use it in your relationships. You can use it with clients. You can use it with your boss. This is a communication dynamic, okay? So how do you know if what you're doing is being helpful to the other person? The answer is you just got to ask them. You have to ask them, will this be helpful to you? So she had asked me, my therapist said, why did you feel like you wanted to clean up her desktop? I said, well, I want to be a good husband. And she said, well, what is a good husband? Somebody who is going to look for things to make his partner's life a little easier. And that's what I wound up doing. Okay? What is that title doing here? You guys are throwing me off here. Okay, so how will what I do help her? And she said that if somebody asks you to do something and they're not giving you clear direction, it's important for you to stop and say, I would love to help you, but I want to make sure what I'm doing is going to be perceived as being helpful to you. I need a little bit more information, and this is critical. So let me give you guys a couple examples, and I'm going to open it up to anybody that's listening to this on Zoom. You can talk to me. Erin will be monitoring this conversation, and if you have a question on Facebook or on YouTube, just type it in. Otto's going to be the man with the keyboard. He'll be filtering your questions, all right? So here are some examples, okay? Have you ever given anybody unsolicited advice where you walk over and you're like, I think you should make that a little bit smaller and make that a little bit bigger. And then you look back at them like, well, gee, thanks. Like, who made you the design king or queen? Or have you ever had a friend come over to your house? Or maybe you were the person who did this, and you moved the picture frame around a little bit because it was bothering you. Maybe it wasn't hanging straight, or you started to move the furniture around. Now that sounds like a pretty ridiculous idea, but believe it or not, when you come to a friend, a client, and you start doing things for them, with them, without talking to them first about what's going to be perceived as helpful, you're going to get a very different reaction, the same reaction I got from my wife. All right, so let's talk about this, you guys. Are there any questions coming in yet?
Not yet.
Not yet. So you guys come in with a question somewhere, and I want you to think about, here's a question. I want you to think about a scenario, a situation that you've been in. We can do a little bit of role play, and I can talk to you about how you could change that dynamic so that what you're doing is being perceived as helpful. And I have some other examples here. So let's see. Here's the first question. What is the mindset that you must have to resolve clients' problems? Is this related to this question? What is the mindset you must have? Okay, here's the thing that you want to have. Here's the mindset. You want to look at things through the eyes of your client, through that lens, not through your lens. So if you're doing something that you think is helpful, that's not the same as what they think is going to be helpful. All right? How do I know? Let's talk about some things. Recently, I was talking to somebody. They said, at work, I want more responsibilities. I see other people getting opportunities that I'm not getting, and I feel like I'm being looked over. How do I say, or how do I bring this up to my boss and not have it feel like I'm stepping on toes? So I said, what's really important is you go up to your boss and say, boss, I want to be more helpful to you. I see that there are a lot of responsibilities and things that you probably don't need to do yourself. Is there anything that I can do to make your life easier? That's a different approach than coming to your boss saying, boss, I'm being underutilized here. I'd like to take on the paperwork or the office admin, and I want to do the PR on that piece. Very different. So one person is coming at it and saying, how can I be of service to you? How can I be helpful to you? And the other person is going in and making suggestions right off the bat and assuming that they understand the problem. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, we're on a very public forum here. We're in a very public space. So there are a lot of people who are giving me advice, quote unquote advice, on what we should be doing with the channel, what kind of content we should be making. They want short content. They want long content. They want it to be on UX. They want it to be on graphic design, or they want just business stuff. And so everybody's coming at me assuming that they know what our goal, our mission is. And I'm okay with opening it up for that kind of dialogue. But if that person or these people really wanted to be helpful in a very genuine way, they should not assume what it is that I want. They should just ask, what do you want? What are you trying to do? Is there anything I can help you with? And with that kind of open gesture of providing service and value to the other person, I think all things can happen. So the next time you're standing in front of your client and they've asked you to design their website or something like that, and you start to say, well, your logo really isn't delivering on the brand values, and I think we need to redo that. What are you doing? You're offering unsolicited advice, and it's just an opinion. Okay? Much better if you were to approach them the way I said, which is to ask them, how do you feel about your logo? Is there anything you want it to do more than it's doing today? And can I be of service? Can I help you with this endeavor? Okay. Are there any other questions or comments? No? Okay. All right, Otto's bringing in a question here. How you keep that head shaved so fresh? All right. Well, I use a razor. I think that's a simple answer. Yeah, I mean, all right. Is there a real question in there? No? Erin,
I got a good question here.
Okay. Before I say that, Erin and Mark, are you guys following what I'm saying? Do you guys understand? Do you want to ask a follow-up question or maybe ask something to help clarify it for our audience?
Mark has a question.
Okay, go ahead, Mark.
Well, my question is from this client right here. Juan Tolentino, what if a client says, I'll leave it in your hands, meaning he or she is too busy or bored? So basically the client's not really giving much direction.
Oh.
How can you work with little feedback or interaction?
Okay, that's perfect. Now the tendency would be like, wow, what a great compliment. The client really trusts me. And in the exact same situation as my therapist had advised me, you have to follow it up with another question to say, like, I'd like to get started. I want to help you. I'm thinking it might be this, but I want clarity and direction from you. If now is not a good time, because I can see you're obviously really busy, when would be a good time? How about Tuesday next week? Do you have 10 minutes to talk to me? Because I really want to understand what it is that you want done and what would be of most help to you. So don't go running off and trying to just figure it out. That's never a good solution. Now let's talk again about a different situation. Let's say you're an in-house designer and your boss, let's say it's an art director or creative director, and they say, I need ideas for this storyboard for this project by tomorrow. And you run away and you're like, okay, good, I got to figure it out. This is where, again, I think a little bit of this communication and changing the mindset, because you can work your heart and soul out, as I did in cleaning up my wife's desktop, and only to get a very negative reaction. So in this case, I would apply the same formula and ask them, okay, before I go off and do this, and I want to do this, I want to do a really great, good, amazing job for you. Do you have a specific direction you want me to pursue? How many frames do you want? What are your expectations? Is there a theme, a message that we need to resolve for the client? Is there anything that you had in your mind that you were looking for that nobody else is doing right now? So these are questions that you can ask to have a little bit of more of a conversation and rapport, which is to understand their point of view before you go off and start making stuff. Do we have any other questions?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have one.
Okay, go ahead, Mark, you first, and then I'll do this question from Otto.
Yeah, this is from Stephen Phillips. If a client wants to keep something about their identity, colors, typeface, etc., and you feel like it's holding back the design, how do you make them more open to see your vision?
All right. Now, this is a dangerous question. You guys get ready. Are the guns locked? All right, so here we go. Why is it your vision? Is this your company? Let's take it back to my wife and I. I have a way of working, and my desktop is fairly organized. It's not perfect, but it has probably fewer than 20 items on the desktop and then folders to manage everything. And that's how I like to work. And some other people work very differently, and they organize their materials very differently. So what you're doing is you have an outcome, an expectation, and you're going to force your vision onto your client, your friend, your partner, your boss. And anytime I've seen this where you try to push your agenda onto somebody else, it's a recipe for disaster. Okay? So my feeling is it really shouldn't be about your vision. It should be about their vision or a shared vision that you can shape with them. So here's a ploy that you can use. If you absolutely hate the colors or the typeface, you might ask them, why did you pick this typeface and this color? Were you trying to achieve anything? Was there a lot of thought put into this? Because I want to understand it. And they come back and say, well, I want a brand that's really trustworthy, that's very modern, and it's clean, and you work with that, okay? And then this is where you can then say, okay, I heard you say trustworthy, modern, and clean. And then you can say to them, well, based on some color psychology, blue is the most trusted color, and that's why most news networks use the color blue, because it feels trustworthy to a lot of people. And if that were the case, and that's important to you, would you consider altering the color palette? And then you're giving a whole rationale as to why this makes sense based on what they want. But you don't go first assuming what they want. Okay? That's the danger. All right, Otto, bring up that question. All right. I feel that I am doing the majority of the work in a group project. How do I politely tell my partner? Is this about being helpful in a communication thing? I'm not sure, but keep this question up. A group project, how do I politely tell my partner? Okay. Is this person available to jump on Zoom? I think this would be more of a conversation. Otto, can you tell him to jump on Zoom and give him the link? No? Okay, forget about it then. I'll try to answer the question. This is just team dynamics, and it's a very tough thing. I think a lot of creative people, a lot of artists, they have this thing where they want to have ownership of the project. And if everybody wants the same thing, there's not a lot of team dynamic going on here. So this is a really tricky situation to be in. What are you going to do? What I would do is bring the person together and say, how much do you want to put into this project? What do you want to get out of it? And they might give you an answer that might surprise you. They could say something like, I just want to skate by. I'm trying not to flunk this class, and I have other classes that are more important to me. Then you have to make a decision yourself. You can't expect the other person to want it as badly as you. Now that's disappointing, because if you want to carry the workload, it doesn't seem fair that they get half the credit. And it's also not fair that if they're not going to do the work, that they get to give direction in the project, okay? Now, assuming that they don't provide any real value in this collaboration, what I would then say to them is this. Say something like, since you don't really want to put effort into this, is it all right with you if I just worked on this by myself? I won't tell the instructor that this is happening, but I also don't want your input, and I don't want you to run around and take credit for this. If that's acceptable to you, then I will continue to work on this. I won't get any of your input, and you'll pass the class. But it won't appear in your portfolio, and you're not going to get credit for this beyond the technical requirements from this class. Is that cool with you? And if they say, okay, at least now you have an understanding, and you don't have this confusion. Like, I like a lot of clarity in my life. I want to be sure what I'm doing and what they're doing and who's doing what. This is how I work in my life. When both people feel like they're responsible for the project, that's where things get dropped. Oh, I thought you were going to pick up the cake. I thought you were going to pick up the plates. Well, we all picked up the opposite things, and now we have nothing. Okay? So that's really, really important, having clarity. All right, who's got the next question? My lips are a little dry. Anybody else got anything?
Yeah, I just gave you a new one.
Okay, we're only going to keep this stream for 30 minutes, and after this, we're going to break. We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to start another stream about a different topic. Who's got the next question? Here we go. How do you approach someone who keeps giving you unsolicited advice to your own work that they aren't a part of?
I hate you, dude.
I didn't know Jose was back in the studio. All right. How do you do this? Okay, people who give you unsolicited advice, it can be fairly annoying. If they're your friend, if they're a partner of yours, I think you just smile and just move on with your day. And you don't let it bother you because you're not beholden to them to do anything, okay? And if they keep doing it and you really want to have a conversation about, let's assume you want to talk to them about this and you want to address this, here's my advice. Pull them aside and say, you know what? I understand you have a lot of input on this project, but what you're saying isn't helpful to me. So I would appreciate it. If you really wanted to help me, we would sit down and talk about the objectives, what I'm trying to solve, and then I would love to get your input. But until then, when I'm ready to get input, I'll ask you. Until then, I would appreciate it if you didn't say anything. Does that work for you? Okay, give me another question, guys.
All right, we got one.
All right.
From Ash. Pretty straightforward. Can you define honest design?
No, can you?
No.
What is honest design? What does that even mean, guys? What does that mean? Ash, I didn't say honest design. I didn't use the word honest design, and that's not part of my vocabulary, so I don't really know what you're talking about. So you need to ask that question and be a little bit more clear about it. And if you have a specific situation or scenario, try to describe it very briefly and then hit me up. Is there anybody on Zoom that wants to join the conversation?
There are a lot of people on Zoom.
Yeah?
But they do not have any questions thus far.
Do they want to say hi? Do they want to do anything? I got some things I want to do here. So, any other questions? No? Okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to read some mail. Since we're talking about being really helpful, I just want to share a couple of cards that were sent to me recently. Some not so recently, but I just want to read them on air because I do truly appreciate this. Cue the music. Letter music. What happened? Come on. Okay, let's read some mail. Let's kill it. Excellent. Good job. Except for the little stuttering at the beginning. So this first one is, I think it's a postcard, and it's designed by Ai Weiwei, the famous Chinese artist, dissident. And it's from Robert Grossman. Robert, thanks very much. He said, I read the Win Without Pitching manifesto. After hearing you talk about it so much, thanks. Now on to lateral thinking. All the best, Robert Grossman. Thank you very much, Robert. Let's see where Robert's from. I can't tell. But thanks, Robert, for this card. I really appreciate it. Pretty awesome, you guys. And he's talking about this book, of course, The Win Without Pitching Manifesto. Highly, highly recommend you get this book, like right now. But just use our link. All right. Next up. Do we have any super chat questions, guys? No? Okay.
Oh.
This is a really cool card. Check it out. Not just a postcard. Nice piece of artwork. It's got some nice pastel colors and a little glitter effect here. It's got some artwork inside, and it's from a bunch of students that were here from Otis saying thank you to myself and to Greg for, we would like to extend our thanks for taking the time and consideration in explaining and showing to us amazing and inspiring work you all create. Pretty awesome, you guys. Look at the drawings on the inside. All right, excellent, Mario. Okay, let's look at another one here. I think they bought these cards in bulk. Do they just sell these cards everywhere? These thank you cards? Can you guys see that? Okay. All right. Thank you. This one is from Alex Lee. He's like, thanks for allowing us into your studio and for the lessons you taught us. Thank you very much, Alex. He even drew a little pair of glasses. I don't think you can see this in exposure, but there it is. Boom. The second card with the exact same design. It says, Dear Chris, thank you so much for having us and for taking the time to answer all our questions. And this seems to be signed by a bunch of people. There's even one here, a portrait of me right there with the peace sign, because, you know, I always do the peace sign. All right. Got 2 more cards, and that's it for the thank you cards for now. Here's another one. This one's from Cliff. Here's the artwork from the front. Look at that. You guys, it's like a cool wood grain pattern. Pretty nice. This is from the Princeton Architectural Press. And the card reads, Chris, thank you for taking the time to meet with me. I appreciate our in-depth conversation. Your thought leadership is changing our approach to education and will pave the way for creatives to become ambidextrous in both business and design. Let me know if I can help in the future. Spelt it correctly. Cliff. Thanks, Cliff. Appreciate the card. Last but not least, this one's got a cool pattern. It's like a graphic pattern here. I don't know. What do you guys call this kind of pattern with a seesaw? I don't know. The internet doesn't know. And this one was from our former intern. I will not read the whole thing because it's a long one. There's a lot here. And it's from Jennifer Cohen. Thanks so much for giving me the opportunity to intern at Blind this past summer. I truly learned so much and enjoyed every day in the office. You were always so kind to me and made me feel so welcome into the community for the entire 11 weeks I was there. All right. Thanks, Jennifer. We miss you. Hope you're doing well. Okay. If we have no more questions, I'm going to end the segment. Does anybody in Zoom want to talk to me?
No one seems to want to turn on their camera and talk to you.
Well, ask them.
They asked a couple of questions through the chat, but
Nah?
yeah, it's not the
Here we go. I got a question. Otto's flashing something on the screen. Here we go. Is it common for companies to have in-house designers work on large projects that they also hire agencies to do at the same time? Is that on the topic of being helpful in communication? No? All right, you guys are going bananas with the sound effects. Okay, is it common for companies to have in-house designers work on large projects that they also hire agency to do at the same time? Now, I don't know what's common in companies. I don't know. But I think that's not uncommon. We've done this before. They have an in-house design team, and they're always also looking for external ideas just because they want the best ideas to win. Sadly, sometimes in-house design teams are looked down upon. They're not held up in the same regard. That's totally inappropriate. Come on. All right. Don't go crazy with that. Slap his wrist. All right, here we go. That they sometimes don't view the in-house design team with the same amount of respect as people outside. And maybe that's because they took a desk job. They wound up going in-house and being on staff. I don't know. I don't know what's common or uncommon, but I think this is a practice that I've seen. Luckily, we're the beneficiaries of this because we're that out-of-house team. We're the agencies, okay? And we provide ideas. Now, we tend to believe this, that, you know, we have some of the best designers. So, yeah, call us because we'll do a good job. Or we won't win the work. All right, what else? Did we get something?
Yeah, we just got a donation.
Ring the bell!
From Patrick Jungick.
I know Patrick.
Yeah, he just said, thanks for the great content.
I appreciate it,
That's
Patrick.
all the sound effects? Just the one?
No, not the ching. Give me the Mario. Give me the coin.
The beeps, dude.
Come on, we worked this out, you guys. It's almost like we don't rehearse. No, not that.
Thank
That
you,
was
Patrick.
for him.
Thank you, Patrick. Mark, did you just flip them off?
No.
It was
none of
with the
that.
index finger? All right.
Index.
Thanks, Patrick. Appreciate your support. Look, guys, anybody, like I said to you guys before, we do appreciate your support, and this is how we make this stuff happen. And sometimes, we're not in the same kind of financial situation where we can do something. I get that. And if you send me a card, that's just as good. Thanks. All right, we're going to wrap up the show. I can announce the second part. If
Yep.
there's no more questions, I don't understand. Nobody's got any questions, huh? All right.
Yeah, here, I'm going to put somebody through and you can talk to him real quick.
Okay, let's do this because we want to make the technology work. We've spent all this time working. on it.
Ready?
Yeah, go ahead. Fire away.
Okay, hold
Okay.
on. Spotlight
You're
video.
you're supposed to tell me. You're not supposed to tell me this
put
part.
Put him on. Put him on, Mark.
I'm sure she cannot hear me. This is tricky, right? Can she hear me? I hope she can hear me.
Unless she's on YouTube.
Yeah. So hopefully you're listening to me on YouTube. There might be a little audio delay. Let me just recap the question here.
You have to go to the YouTube or Facebook Live. That's where you can see Chris. This is just for the asking question
Okay.
part.
So let me give let me
Okay.
give you the response here, okay?
So maybe hold on a sec because she's going to go, right? So
We're live,
go
guys.
over
I don't
there.
hold on.
Yeah,
We're
we
live.
gotta
Give
go
her a
on to
second.
it.
Play some music, Otto. Jeez. Yeah. All right. Let me know when you're there. Okay, cut it. Okay, go answer.
Okay. All right. That was totally inappropriate music, by the way, but okay, I will go with it. All right, here, your question was, can you mute her for a second? Her question was, she approached some kind of bigwig or was approached by a bigwig that was running something on Amazon, a big email campaign. She had some ideas about what to do, and then the client ghosted on her. So here's what I suspect that happened. There is probably some misalignment between what they're saying and what you offered up. Or there may have been maybe too much eagerness on your part to offer up ideas. And the thing that you guys, you've heard me say this before, you should be in the diagnostic phase for as long as possible and delay prescribing solutions, because that means that you haven't spent the time to understand the problem. And if you spend a lot of time diagnosing the problem, asking this person questions about what they're trying to do, what the challenges have been, what have you done historically, what do you plan to do in the future, all those kind of questions. And a really great episode to watch is the one with Eli Cohen, Sales Strategy. Guys, I'm a little surprised that there aren't more views on this, because you guys always ask, how do I get more work? How to do sales? We put out the video with the master at sales, and guess what? Nobody watches it. I don't get that. We have 144,000 subscribers, and the percentage of people who've watched it as opposed to our subscriber base, that is crazy to me. I guess you guys would rather learn how to make a logo look better versus learning how to do sales, okay? So I suspect that might be the case without knowing all the details. So if you're in this situation next time, again, spend a lot of time asking open-ended questions, learn about what they're trying to do, and don't be so quick to offer up a solution. Even after you've finished collecting the information, you can say, if you'd like for me to tailor some solutions for you, I need a moment to think about it, but is this what you want me to do? And recap the whole conversation back to them. Now, they're going to feel like you dug deep, that you listened, and they feel validated. So you're escalating your value and your position to them right away. And I think that's really important for you to do. Okay, thank you for that question. I hope that was helpful to you. If you have a follow-up question, just let Erin know, and we'll put you back on air. Do we have another video question, Erin?
Yeah, you ready?
Are you ready?
We also have a super chat question.
Oh, okay, let's do super chat, and then we'll do
Okay.
video chat. Get them ready.
Okay, so from super chat. This is from Micah Headings. Thank you, Micah.
Woo!
He's asking, when I give feedback to others of lesser experience, they tend to shut down creatively and just ask me to work on the project. How do I improve?
Okay, very good question. This is a question of art direction, and it could be, it's an art. It really is. So you're in a position where you're going to give somebody feedback who presumably reports to you or works directly for you. Otherwise, you're the person giving unsolicited advice, and we don't like that. Okay, I'm going to assume that that is the case. And the way I would suggest doing is don't be prescriptive as exactly what to do. Focus on the goals and the objective of what you're trying to get them to do. Help them understand the context in which you're looking at the work, okay? What you ultimately want to do as a boss or as an art director is to share how you look at things with other people, not tell them what to do. So if you sit there and say, I need you to make this 50% bigger, I want you to use this color, this PMS color, or that hex color, and I want you to integrate these two elements, you're being very prescriptive so people just shut down, okay? Because you're robbing them of their ability to creatively add their own touch on this thing. Rather, what you should do is say this, is what we promised the client had red, blue, and these elements in it. Can you find a creative way to integrate that into the work? Because I'm not seeing it in here. And if I'm not seeing something that you're working on and I don't understand it, I would love to have some dialogue about it. Why don't you explain to me how this design solution solves this design brief? And this is the problem. A lot of us keep it up here, or it's an emotional thing and we're not able to articulate this to somebody else. And this is the skill of an art director or a creative director. They know how to define the target that you need to hit. They're not wishy-washy. They're not, I don't know, try a lot of different things. And that also is equally frustrating. That's the exact opposite of being very prescriptive with the solutions, but it's equally frustrating. I hope that helped. And thanks, Micah, for your support of this channel. Appreciate it. Okay, Otto, bring up the question, and then we're going to do video chat. Okay, here we go. I work as a design assistant. Being helpful to both the client and artist seems impossible. How can I be helpful to both parties and interpret? Any suggestions for navigating this? This is a very difficult position to be in. Woo! Okay, you're an assistant, a design assistant. You want to be helpful to both the client and artist. What about the company? Like, who are you assisting right now? Who's paying you? Because that's where your loyalties should be. And when you have two parties that you're beholden to, a client and the team that you work for, this becomes a conflict of interest. This is why there are certain rules in government and in businesses where you can't have multiple interests in the party, okay? That's called conflict of interest, and that's a dangerous thing. So a lot of times people tend to get carried away and listen to the client in such a way that they come back and tell the teams what to do. So now you're seen as an enemy within your own company. That's a really bad place to be in. It really is. So try to find a way to understand what the design objective is and be a champion for them. Help them win their creative battles. And if they're off mark, just remind them what we promised, but don't become an agent for the client because that's not good for your team. And you soon find yourself short of a lot of friends. Okay? That's my advice for you. Thanks for that question. Erin, are we ready for the video chat?
Yeah, here, I'm going to put somebody on. You ready?
I'm ready. Are they ready? Whoa. Thanks, man.
That was Mark.
Mark, are you all right, dude? You just swallow along? What's going on? All right, put him on.
Yeah, he's on.
I don't see anything.
Oh, yeah.
There we go. He's good.
All right, go ahead. Here we go.
Ask
What is your question? Can you say your question in one complete statement really fast?
Try again.
Oh, yes.
Now, you guys, we need to learn to ask better questions. That's super abstract, okay? And Erin, you're not coaching them to say their name and where they're from, because they can't hear me, and you're not. I don't hear you saying it, so you got to say it before you put them live, okay? All right. So here's the deal. Kill the audio for them. I can hear somebody talking over there. All right. All right. So he's a new designer, and nobody trusts him. Well, that's what happens when you're new. If you're new in town, nobody trusts you. If you're new to design, I don't trust what you can do. So you have to earn the trust. You have to earn the trust. And I think this is an appropriate question given what we're talking about, is because you want to be helpful and you want to do things that are perceived as being helpful to other people. And so you can say, look, I realize I'm new and there's lots of reasons not to trust me. And I feel like you guys don't trust me. I'd like to earn your trust. What can I do to earn your trust? I would just say it like that. You don't have to play games. You don't have to be mysterious about what you're thinking. Just say what you think. Okay? Now, if there's other issues that you're not aware of, now's a good time to surface those things. Maybe they don't like the clothes you wear, or maybe you have body odor. I don't know. Whatever it is, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it openly, right? I mean, Erin and I, we come to each other all the time. Something in my tooth, he's going to tell me. If he's got BO, I'm going to tell him. And we don't feel offended by it because we have a close relationship. We know that we're not doing it to hurt each other's feelings. It's about making sure that we're giving each other a heads up as to what's going on. Right, Erin? Like, that's why you wear, what is it, Axe body spray? People can't hear you, by the way. Okay. Are we good there? All right. I'm going to wrap the show. That was half an hour.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
Okay, we're going to wrap this show up, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. I have a quick announcement to make. First, I want to let you guys know we're going to stick around in about 20 or 30 minutes. We're going to launch another episode about overcoming the price objection. You're going to want to tune in for this one. Like when clients say, you're too expensive, I can't afford this, what do you say? That's a big one. A lot of you guys have cheapo clients, and I'm going to talk about how to overcome that. And lastly, I just want to let you guys know, Sean Campbell came in second place for our 100,000 subscriber challenge or giveaway, and first place couldn't come here, so he wins, and we've picked a date. It is August 10th. And those are you guys that want to meet up with us since he came in second. I thought, some of you guys mentioned about wanting to come out here and doing a little future meetup. We can do something. So the date is August 10th. Mr. Benjamin Burns will give us the official graphic and announcement via our Facebook page and Twitter. We're going to meet for breakfast, and we're going to take a tour of Blind. I'm going to spend the rest of the day with Sean Campbell, but the rest of you guys can tag along for a part of that adventure if you want to. Just let us know, okay? August 10th, look out for the announcement on our Facebook page and for details. And for many of you guys that keep asking me, how do I know when these things are going live? How do I know? Well, first of all, you need to subscribe to this channel, and there's a bell. It's like over there somewhere. If you click on the bell, click on that little bell. Whenever we go live, whenever we post a new video, it's going to send you an email. That's the easiest thing to do. But that won't alert you of upcoming episodes that we're going to stream. The best way to do that is subscribe to our email list. Go to thefutur.com, sign up for the email list at the bottom, and also follow us on Facebook. Then whenever we post something, you're going to get notified. All right? That's it. Guys, I will see you very shortly. Be back in a little bit. See you guys.